All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Got things started on a wrong foot this past Thursday night as I picked the Las Vegas Raiders to go on the road and knock off the Los Angeles Rams for a variety of reasons. But what has been the unfortunate same old song for the Raiders this year, they have not been able to take care of their business when they've had leads, and they also haven't been able to take care of their business against teams that they're supposed to beat, which is why the Raiders are 5-8 and more than likely are going to miss the postseason. But with that said, there are some good games on tap for tomorrow, as well as a Monday night contest. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 14 in this NFL season. Now, I'm going to get started with the 7-5 New York Jets traveling north to take on the 9-3 Buffalo Bills. Excuse me. And for the Bills, they're looking to seize control of the AFC East, excuse me there. And on top of that, they're looking to revenge, if you will, their loss to the same Jets team earlier this season. The Bills went to MetLife Stadium heavily favored, and it was the Jets that really dictated the pace from the word go. And when it was all said and done, the Bills had suffered a loss. Now, one thing's for sure, this Jets team, even though that they lost last Sunday to the Minnesota Vikings, they're playing a lot better with Mike White at quarterback. So, number one, if you're the Bills, you got to go out there and disrupt that rhythm and try to make Mike White uncomfortable, something that we have not seen so far. Of course, the Bills got the news this week that their star edge rusher, Von Miller, is going to be lost for the remainder of the season, regular season and postseason, and that means the onus is going to have to be on somebody else to step up right now. You think about what Buffalo did offensively against the Jets earlier this year, or more than likely, more than that, rather, what they didn't do. This Jets front really predicated things and put a ton of pressure on Bills quarterback Josh Allen. This Jets front is one of the best in the NFL, and they know how to get after quarterbacks. But I look at it like this: the Bills have to, really focus on their ground game a little bit more to give this offense more of a balance. When the Bills are running the football, it only makes Josh Allen and this passing attack that more explosive. It's going to be 31 degrees at kickoff tomorrow. The Jets are going to be very game. They're not intimidated by going up to face the Buffalo Bills, but nonetheless, I'm going to take Buffalo at home by the score of 30-24. Now, in the AFC North, you're going to have the 8-4 Cincinnati Bengals hosting the 5-7 Cleveland Browns. And for Cincinnati, they are rolling right now. We saw them get the big win at home last week over the Kansas City Chiefs. And for the Bengals, they definitely want to keep that momentum going. For the Browns, they have Deshaun Watson now, but there was a ton of rust for him and this offense last week. I think Cleveland needs to rely on their running game with Nick Chubb as they bring Deshaun Watson along. But nonetheless, the onus is going to be on this Cleveland defense, most notably Miles Garrett and company, because you got to find a way to get to Joe Burrow at quarterback. Because if you're not, you're going to be in for a long afternoon. You look at the talent that the Bengals have on offense around Burrow, which includes Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins at wide receiver, which will put stress on any secondary in the NFL. Cleveland secondary is no different from that. And because of that, I'm going to take Cincinnati at home tomorrow by the score of 31-20. Now, another cupcake on the schedule for the Dallas Cowboys as the 9-3 Cowboys host the 1-10-1 Houston Texans. This is like a homecoming game because Dallas comes into this contest favored by 17 points. And honestly, I really don't think it's going to be that close. The Houston Texans, they have spirit, but at the end of the day, spirit does not win games in the NFL. Talent does. Dallas is a more talented team, and they're going to cruise to the 44 to 17 win. Now, in the NFC North, you're going to have the 10-2 Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the 5-7 Detroit Lions. Now, in spite of the fact that the Lions have a losing record and the Vikings are one of the better teams in the NFC, it's Detroit that comes into this game favored by 2.5 points. This Lions pass rush, they've been getting it going recently. And can they make life tough for Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins? We got to wait and see. But if you don't, this Vikings offense can light you up. Offensively, with the Lions right now, Jared Goff has been playing some solid ball. He's looking for a contract from somebody. And of course, he wants to finish this year on a positive note. This is one of those games where everything is shaping up for the Lions to win. But at the end of the day, I think the Lions find a way to lose this one. And thus, I'm going to take Minnesota on the road by the score of 30-20. Now, the Tennessee Titans are going to be looking to get back on track with their 7-5 record, and they're also looking to continue control of the AFC South as they host the 4-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. We saw Tennessee fire their general manager right after their loss to the Philadelphia Eagles last Sunday. And I think for the Titans, they got to get back to the basics. They have to run the football effectively and get after you defensively. I think right here, this is a perfect game for Tennessee to get back on track. I know that they're facing a Jacksonville team that just got blown out last week at the hands of the Lions, but nonetheless, I think the Lions get their, pardon me, the Titans get their running game going, while defensively they hunker down and put some pressure on the young quarterback for Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence. I would expect Tennessee's defense to force at least one turnover from Lawrence in this one, and because of that, I'm going to take Tennessee at home by the score of 31-19. Now at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, it's a classic battle of the Hatfields and the McCoys, and I'm talking about the 11-1 Philadelphia Eagles making the short trek up the Jersey Turnpike to take on the 7-4-1 New York Giants. For Philadelphia, excuse me, they come into this game favored heavily over their NFC East brethren. The Eagles come in as a 7.5 point favorite over the Giants in this contest. Their offense is rolling, and this Eagles team really has a look of a squad that can get to the Super Bowl. On the flip side, for the Giants, it was tough at times watching their offense last week, which is part of the reason why, excuse me, they ended up tying the Washington Commanders at home. The Giants' offense has been a struggle all season long. Their defense has been keeping them in games. But the bottom line is, excuse me, in order for them to keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one, they're going to have to find a way to score some points. I'm not sure if Daniel Jones and company are capable of doing that. And because of that, I'm going to take Philadelphia on the road in this one by the score of 34-20. Now, back in the AFC North, you're going to have the 8-4 Baltimore Ravens traveling to take on the 5-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. Excuse me. This is another battle of Hatfields and McCoys, if you will, as there's never any love lost between the Steelers and the Ravens, two of the more physical teams in the NFL. You look at this one for Pittsburgh; they got to try to find a way to take advantage of no Lamar Jackson at quarterback for Baltimore, as he is out with the knee injury. But Tyler Huntley at quarterback for Baltimore has played solid over the last couple of years. And he's given this team an opportunity to win. So that's going to be the case once again tomorrow. Of course, for the Steelers, they've had their struggles at times on offense with rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett this year. But as the season has progressed, Pickett is getting more and more comfortable back there in that pocket. And he's showing why the Steelers had the faith in him to make him a first round pick last spring. Also, you look at the defenses. Baltimore knows how to get after you. And of course, we know what Pittsburgh can do with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and so much star power on that side of the ball. I think this game comes down to turnovers, field position, and special teams. And I'm going to give Pittsburgh the slightest of slight edges in this one. And I'm going to take the Steelers at home by the score of 20-19. Now, in a game that was flexed out of the NBC primetime spot, you're going to have the 9-3 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to take on the 3-9 Denver Broncos. And of course, at the beginning of the season, the schedule makers were drooling over this one because, of course, the arrival of Russell Wilson was supposed to make the Denver Broncos Super Bowl contenders. And obviously, that has not been the case, while the Kansas City Chiefs have definitely kept up their end of the bargain. This season cannot get over quick enough for the Denver Broncos. While for the Kansas City Chiefs, I know they had to set back on the road last week at the hands of the Cincinnati Bengals. But this is a team that definitely is postseason bound and can once again do some damage when they get there. And because of that, I think the Chiefs get back on the winning track against Denver tomorrow with the 34-19 win. It's going to be the 6-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to the West Coast to take on the 8-4 San Francisco 49ers. And for Tom Brady, he faces his childhood team as he grew up a big 49ers fan growing up in the Bay Area. And now he's coming home, if you will. And this Niners defense could have a rude welcoming mat out for him in this one. This Bucks offensive line, they have to find a way to slow down Nick Bosa and company. We know that Tom Brady's not the most elusive quarterback in that pocket. And if you can't protect him, he could be in for a long afternoon. With this 49ers offense, of course, Jimmy G is out with the foot injury. So in Brock Purdy, we trust. The teammates have rallied for Brock Purdy. And for Brock Purdy, he had a solid career collegiately at Iowa State. But obviously, this is the most talent that he's been around. And I think it's just going to be important for him to rely on that talent, get them the football, and let them do what they do. Can this Bucks defense slow down Christian McCaffrey? Can this Bucks defense slow down Debo Samuel and George Kittle and crew? We got to wait and see. But nonetheless, I'm going to take San Francisco at home by the score of 27-20. Then you're going to have the 7-5 Seattle Seahawks hosting the 4-8 Carolina Panthers. And for Seattle, they just keep finding ways to win. We saw them go on the road last week and pull one out against the Rams. And now a win here would definitely put them in a good spot to make a postseason berth this year. For Carolina, they have not won a game away from home this year. And I think that trend continues as I'm going to take Seattle at home by the score of 31-23. Now on Sunday night, it's going to be the 6-6 Los Angeles Chargers hosting the 8-4 Miami Dolphins. Both of these teams need to get back on track after suffering a defeat last week. And for the Dolphins, they're looking to make it 1-1 on this West Coast trip after they fell to the 49ers last week. Two of the younger, more brighter, exciting quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course, Tua for the Dolphins and Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Plenty of talent on offense for both of these clubs. Which defense is going to step up and make that big play? Of course, if you're talking defenses, you got to give the edge to Miami. But nonetheless, the Chargers do have some playmakers on that side of the ball, which includes Khalil Mack as well as Derwin James. For me, this is a classic pick 'em. I know that Miami comes into this contest favored by 3, but I think this is a classic toss-up. I think the last team with the football wins, and because of that, I'm going to take the Chargers at home by the score of 34-31. And finally, on Monday night, you're going to have the 6-6 New England Patriots traveling to the desert to take on the 4-8 Arizona Cardinals. Arizona has only won one single contest at home this season, and now they're facing a New England team that knows how to get after you. It's going to be an interesting chess match between Bill Belichick and Cliff Kingsbury all night on Monday. As you think about Belichick's defense looking to slow down and confuse Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray. For the Patriots offense has been up and down with Mac Jones and company this season, but I think the perfect recipe for New England's offense to get back on track is to face this Arizona team. New England comes into this contest favored by 1.5 points. I'm going to take that plus a little bit more, and I'm going to take the Patriots on the road in this one by the score of 31-27. So, folks, those are my picks for this week in the world of the National Football League. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. TFX, what's going on? Enjoy the games this weekend because I definitely will. And I hope to hear from you tomorrow night when I'm doing my recaps. So, once again, fine folks, this is William Martin. I want to thank all of you out there for tuning in. I'm signing off, saying take care and have a wonderful day and enjoy some good NFL action this weekend.